Hi, this is John Solari, the Method Actor Speaks. And I want you to look at joycelyn.com. She cuts my hair. She also does cards and everything. Just look her up, and you see the number here. And I'll be with you in a minute. We have a special guest today. So I'm coming over there now to talk to you. Cathie, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cathie, or Catherine Filippone.
Filippone.
That is my given name, yes.
And you're from Philly.
I'm from outside of Philly, yes. I'm from outside of Philadelphia.
And how long have you been in California?
I've been in California off and on for about 30 years.
Really?
Yes, I have.
Now,
Hard to believe, huh?
hard to believe. We have
Well, it's hard to believe for me, John.
Was it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Where did you start singing?
I started singing when I was about 5 years old in a small town outside of Philadelphia. It's 30 miles west of Philadelphia and 30 miles east of the Pennsylvania Dutch country.
Oh, so the Amish and all of
The
them. huh?
Amish and all that, yeah.
Now,
And my mother and Louis Armstrong actually was my greatest influence into wanting to sing. I was mesmerized and, you know.
that's an interesting combination. Louis Armstrong and your mother was into opera?
My mother was a hairdresser.
Hairdresser.
My mother had me, gave birth to me, went right into hairdressing school, and we always had a hair salon in our home. And she's been a hairdresser, had her own business for years, as old as I am, which...
We look good to that. You look pretty young to me.
Thank you.
Now, you studied, earlier you were telling me you studied opera.
Well, I began singing opera when I was 11 years old. I sang pop when I was 5. So I did belting and dancing, piano, and everything that everybody does.
Who was some of you, what made you want to get interested in opera?
Well,
Is it the Italian background?
actually the Knights of Columbus. I used to do a lot of singing at our church for church banquets and for the Knights of Columbus, fire halls, everything when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. And there was a particular man who took an interest into me and told me about the Bryn Mawr Conservatory of Music. And that's in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. And that's where I went to be tested music-wise. I was 11 years old with a pretty just belting voice. I just, everything was zing went the strings of my heart, and everything's coming up roses. Or
So you
Barbara Streisand, I listened to a lot. Connie Francis was really popular in our house. Petula Clark, Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. I used to love to walk around the house and strut, and I was especially excited when my grandparents would come over and had to do a show. Always had to put on some kind of show.
So you really enjoyed that. Did they enjoy it?
Well,
They must have enjoyed it.
I don't know if they enjoyed it, but I know that my mother was the main influence who really got me interested in
Why was
singing.
that? What did she do?
Well, her older sister. Well, my mother wanted to be a performer, and actually, my mother is a fantastic dancer. And when she was a little kid, she comes from a family of 12. And she's the youngest. And she was on a radio show. She was like about, 5 years old, and she sang "I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts" and tap danced on the radio, and won the contest, the Capitol Bakers radio contest. And so they won all these bread and sweets and cookies and everything is what she won for her family.
Right.
So they were all excited because they were poor,
Now, your grandparents, did they come from Italy?
Yes, Reggio Calabria.
Calabria. So
Calabrese.
a lot of that singing in the opera, especially the opera, comes
From my father's side, maybe.
That's a very big, that passion. And opera is very passionate.
It is very passionate. I think it really is. And I think Italians, Irish people are passionate too, have a lot of passion. Yeah, I think we like to even just argue a certain way, like in an operatic kind of style. We enjoy it. It's kind of fun.
When you speak, everything is out there.
Yeah, it is. It's loud. It's a bit loud.
It's a beautiful language. Now, who are some of your favorite singers? Besides Connie Francis singing Mama and Malafamia, Bad Woman.
Naturally, Barbara Streisand was a great influence. I think Mariah Carey, when she first started her career, just knocked my socks off. I heard her out here, I was driving, pulled over to the nearest store and bought her cassette tape because I didn't have a CD player at the time. Remember, you can't even buy cassettes anymore with condenser mics.
It's true. I have some. I have and I have a lot of operas. Years ago, they used to play the operas on Sundays, and I used to off the radio, and I used to copy them off the radio.
You know what's really hard though, John? You said who's my favorite singer, and I really do not have a favorite singer. I think that my mother put the passion in me to want to perform and sing. I don't know. As a child, does a child really know what they want to do?
Some do. Fortunately for them, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I kind of doubt
I guess it's more. I mean, you do know what is good, and if you enjoy it, you're gonna pursue it.
Well, I think I did it mostly because it made my parents happy, or made my mom happy, and when I did it well, then I got more attention.
I was going to say, you did it for attention.
I did it for attention. I also helped her in her salon when I was 7 and 8 years old. I was shampooing, and she's still a hairdresser to this day.
Really?
Yes, she still does hair like 3 days a week, and she's a cancer survivor. She was a great influence in my life, and I had some great singing teachers also that influenced my life, as well as nuns. I went to a Polish Catholic school, grade school, when I was young.
Did they raise pigeons?
They raised pigeons? No.
There's a lot of Polish people, Italians and Polish in New York. Raising birds, the homo pigeons. Now your husband's a singer, though. It was in a band.
Yes, he's rock and roll, straight ahead rock and roll. Yes.
He played the drums, you said.
He played the drums, yes. He did play the drums, and he worked for a company. I think he would rather speak for himself.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you'd be angry if I said what he did. It was.
Okay.
But he used to work for Al Bennett, actually.
Okay. I have a friend that
Cream High Records, Al Bennett, are you familiar with Al Bennett? The late, great Al Bennett?
Maybe if I hear his name.
He discovered Alvin and the Chipmunks guy, the guy that invented them.
Yeah.
And he also, Al Green, who represented him. See, I don't know everything about it because my husband, Tommy, he doesn't tell me that much, give me that much info. He says, that's more information than I need. Usually I'm talking all the time.
Now in your career,
I have to like cry it out.
In your career, did you do any acting?
I did. I was with in high school, of course, and when I went to the Bryn Mawr Conservatory of Music, they accepted me at 11 years of age. And I studied opera. I found out that I was a lyric soprano, and then a coloratura soprano. So when I was 12 years old, I was singing Adela's Laughing Song. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And I won the Tri-County concert, was first place in that. So I had a mature voice as a younger.
Oh,
Well, at 11, but up until 11, until they showed me that I had, it was like magic, you know, that I had this other voice,
wow. Really?
you know. I didn't know it existed. All I knew was I was so scared when I was singing that I sang so loud, and I was like, you know, dear, when you smile at me, I heard a melody, you know, so it was all really copying other voices, you know.
Really, you copied voices?
Well, you know, I listened, and my teachers I listened to. I listened especially to their every word. Like if they told me to stand on my head, I would have stood on my head. Like getting a new piece of music or learning a new repertoire was like somebody giving me a present, a big present, you know. So it was exciting, it was challenging, the opera part of it.
I was just thinking, if you were a child today, excuse me, my voice, you probably get a lot more exposure
Oh yeah.
with the media the way it is today.
Exactly.
You know, an 11, 12-year-old opera singer, I mean, that would go,
Well, they're all doing that now.
not today, yes.
Today they are, yeah.
Yes, but back then, if they would have had that media, the exposure, your life probably would have taken a whole new way of life.
Yes, I think it's really important to, if you're gonna sing, well, you know, you have your limitations. You come from a background, you should feel good about the background you come from. You know, your parents gave you your life. My father was an electrician. He worked very hard, blue-collar worker in the union, and worked out in the ice and cold and snow and sleet.
Back then you had to.
You had to, yeah. So without them, I would have never been able to have the opportunity to have a finer life and learn about more worldly things than they had.
They didn't
that
have
was
work
nice.
comp or unemployment. You might have had unemployment, but works comp and this and that, and all the benefits that you can get today weren't back then. If you were out of work, you were out of work.
You were out of work, yeah. So I always used to love to be around the shop and beauty. It was in the basement. So I'd fix my mom's shelves, and when her salespeople would come in to sell her products, I said, get this, get that, get that. And the products I usually picked, they liked.
Really?
I just had kind of like a knack for it. I don't know why. And they wanted me to shampoo their hair instead of my mother. So they would say, where's Cathie? And she'd yell up the stairs, Cathie! Sophie wants you to wash her hair for her. So they became more like friends. They were all friends. And it just...
We have a CD here that you brought. Now, do you know who is this stuff you wrote or?
No. I wrote the second song on here. This is over, I don't know if you really want to play this or not. It might be better for me to just do some opera or something, or
we can do. Here's number 2. Let's hear it.
Jazz is what I'm really into, and I'm writing a musical. And this is all just a hobby, just for intellectual stimulation, kind of get back to being me again. You know how women kind of go through phases and things? Well, I went through a phase. It's the first song I wrote.
Really?
And then I came out to Hollywood and did a couple of things with 20th Century Fox. But I wrote this in the style of Barbra Streisand. It's called Everything. You're my everything.
It's a nice title.
Could we ever be, you and me forever? Crazy feelings keep me hanging on, struggling with these feelings. Answers I don't know right now. All I know is what I feel.
funny. Everything. I think everybody, when they write a song, everybody has a song called Everything.
Were you in love then, or breaking up, or?
You know, I was just, I couldn't believe I was actually recording music because I never wanted to be a recording artist. No, and I liked the theater. I wanted the stage. I liked musical comedy. I loved it, you know. But when I heard my voice for the first time in the studio, well, as a singer, when you sing, or even when you talk, you have to be able to, you can't really hear your voice.
Uh-huh. Really?
Really? That's why you have a singing teacher. And we call them they're your, not the dog, I forget the terminology, I'm really bad with that, but the one that watches after you, that like barks when you know, did you hear that right there? You went off right there, or did you know?
Well, more like a coach,
Well,
critiquing your voice?
Well, more like a coach, but now we're talking, this is pop. So this I just did after I sang, after I was classically trained, because I did lose a part of my classical voice.
Really?
A purity in it. I, excuse me, went back to like the bel canto era of singing, and I studied with a great teacher, Marianne Cossiello, who taught at the Curtis Institute of Music. And with her, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me.
There's a woman over here, Jody Jarris, at the NoHo Organic Festival. I mean, every Saturday they have it. But they're the second Tuesday of the month. They sing jazz over there. They have a bunch of jazz people. But you like to sing jazz. I'll hook you up with her on Facebook.
I call it sloppy opera.
Okay.
I don't know that much about it, but I know that my voice lends itself to that.
You have a great voice. I mean, I listen to that.
Yeah, but that's 30 years old.
You still have it. I heard you belted out a few notes earlier on the show. So. But I mean, if you're interested, Jody Jarvis.
I would love to.
I'll hook you up with her.
Absolutely.
I'll make sure she looks at this tape too, and hears you singing.
She doesn't have to, because my voice is a little bit different. I have some songs I'm writing just for the fun of it, just to like kind of stimulate my mind again, and get more into the acting and get back to being me when I was me, like at 15, 16, you know. Which is a hard thing to do because we become distorted.
Yeah.
Through things.
15, 16, and now is a big difference.
It's a big
the
difference.
way we think.
It is. It is. Well, you take children, I mean, out here, this is Hollywood. I mean, this is where stars are made and people know how to treat talent, work with talent, and all that. So you see, I came from, I'm not saying it's lesser, but it isn't, I wasn't on, you know.
Right, yeah. Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't even have the words, the proper words.
It's not New York, it's not LA. Philadelphia doesn't have it. But you did have bands, American bands.
Well, that was the South City Soul Orchestra, which was a part of the Philadelphia Orchestra playing behind me, that used to play at the Valley Forge Music Fair when, like, Diana Ross came and all the artists.
So what makes you want to get back into business now?
I have lost that something in me that I want back because I don't like the way I feel.
Really?
So it's kind of selfish. I mean, because as a singer, you really give out to your audience. But but I am doing it for myself, more so now than than as a child, which I'm calling 15 and 16 a child.
Well, back then it might have been. Today, it's a little different. People grow up a lot faster today than they did, back then.
Excuse me, I don't know, I have dust or something in my throat.
Well, it could be, there's a lot of dust here.
But yeah, I'm like all over the place. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about this, and then I'm talking about that, and I'm talking about this way and that way, and I need to get some kind of focus and follow through with it. Like I used to teach modeling.
You did?
I did, yes. And I used to teach my models that, focus is important. Your attitude, the way you feel, and what are you projecting? You might be feeling it inside of you, and you're projecting it inwardly, but what does it look like on the outside? Now that's the problem that I'm dealing with now. I know how I want to sound, feel what I want to hear. For me, not necessarily that it's the greatest or the most commercial or the best that the people out there want to hear. So if I were performing or doing a job,
Right.
a booking or at something, which I wouldn't because I'm out of the industry. I would like to do it as a hobby.
Did you get out because you got married, or?
No, I just kind of phased out. I wrote music, which I'm really not a writer, although I was a music major. English was my best subject, and I don't have that English that I used to have, and that grammar, and that composition. And I got that from the Bernardine nuns.
Bernardine nuns.
Yeah,
Love
St.
the title.
Francis. Way back when, Saint Stanislaus.
St. Stanislavski, the method acting.
Yeah,
You were talking about you wanted to get back into acting.
I really
And musical
do.
theater is really for you.
But I don't want. I could never. I think I might die.
Why would you die?
I went to see Rock of Ages.
Ah.
Oh, on Broadway. Were those kids fabulous or what? I'm talking. The talent is awesome these days. I worked for Opryland Productions when I was a kid, but I never finished my operatic training because I don't know. I was distracted. I liked rock and roll and pop and everything.
Well, you still have a lot to give to people because you know a lot, and well, you should. I mean, you got to. This is a good stuff for you to get back. But when you talk about acting, this book that's in front of us is one of the best books on acting there is, and a good exercise for a lot of people. You actors out there, a good tip is the telephone. When you're on the phone, how do you talk to a family member that you care about? How do you talk to a family member you're angry with? How do you, disappointed in? Or any person like that. Different varieties of how you would speak to them.
Right.
And that gives you a history of how to work when you're put in certain situations.
Right. Exactly. It's like how do you walk into a grocery store as opposed to how you walk into a church.
Right, that's
Right?
exactly.
Kind of like that. Or how do you walk down the street?
That's exactly how and why are you walking down the street?
Why am I walking down the street?
Why am I doing this today?
And what am I thinking about when I'm walking down the street?
Those are the things you have to. You ever look at background people and when you're watching the film, 90% of the time you know who the background people are because they're just walking. and they walk like they have no purpose, because they have no
Yeah.
purpose. They're not doing anything.
Right.
And that's when, like an exercise like that, well, if the AD says, I want you to walk over there. Well, okay, so I'll walk over there, but I'll have something in my mind. Why am I walking over there? Oh, because she's mad at me, or I'm in love, or whatever, and I'm getting to see it. You have to think of something.
Right.
Give yourself a purpose.
You give yourself a presence.
Well, a purpose.
I always I like drama. I do like drama, and I don't have any drama. It's been drained out of me somehow through life. Does
Oh, you got to get it back. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you call it gravy or sauce?
I call it. Is it Sunday, Dad? Whose house are we going to go to? Is it Uncle Vito, Uncle Ted, Aunt Mary? Where are we going? I got to get the spaghetti and then the meatballs. We call it sauce.
Yeah, funny I figured that.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think, yeah, even in Ohio, Cleveland,
Oh my God.
they call it sauce. New York, we call it gravy.
I used to love to go to New Jersey, to my Uncle Vito's and my Uncle Ted's, because my cousins were all there, and the spaghetti, and it was just, when we played music, and they were older, and it was just a whole different...
That area's really gone. I mean, I used to cook for my family's in Jersey too, a lot of them in Montville. And on Sunday I would make the gravy. I'd start cooking it on Saturday night. You know, they had one pot. They probably still have it. The only thing that's ever been cooked in that pot is gravy.
Yeah.
It's about 70, 80 years old, this pot.
My mom has a pot
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But we don't do spaghetti. I used to do cooking.
We call it macaroni.
Macaroni? You call it macaroni?
And people, they call it pasta. I never liked that word, pasta. Macaroni or
Yeah.
spaghetti.
We call it spaghettis.
Yeah, what I like is
Spaghetti.
not the capelletti. Another one, it's like straws.
Capellini.
Capellini.
That's my favorite.
Oh, isn't that great?
Boy, oh my God, to die for.
Yeah.
To
Capellini,
die
that's
for.
it. Yeah.
I love it.
It's hard to find. You got to go to the tank. So.
I make
Get
it
it.
myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
How do you like it? I always.
Well, with anything, just like it with anything. It's good.
It's delicious.
Anyway, with that.
Hoboken, New Jersey. I went to a restaurant there once.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
I used
one
to
of,
live there for a while.
They made the best, the pasta, the capellini and the vegetables in it,
Yeah.
and the garlic and the aioli,